Yes, I am still watching Supernatural. Thank you for asking. Nobody was asking. I just got to season 5, which fucks. God, season 5 fucks. Dean is so bi, I can't handle it.
I love season 8. Season 8 hits different. No one talks about season 8, but season 8 is I am season 8.
It's because we were all still recovering from season 7. Season 7 was just so bad.
And Dick, I don't care about season 7.
I'm loving this new tradition of starting our shameless recap podcast with talking about Supernatural. I really enjoy this theme we've got going on.
I have been getting so emotional.
But one thing I do love about Supernatural is the guy that played Chuck, the guy that played God. I found this out after Timothy Oddmundson, the guy that plays Kane later.
Oh, I met him.
He was also in this show called Psych.
He had a stroke a few years ago and is recovering from it. And I found out that the guy that plays Chuck also had a stroke in the middle of like filming.
Is that why
Supernatural?
I never
It
knew
was
that.
all-
Stroke than Timothy's.
His
It's
name
like
was Rob Benedict, the guy.
Yeah,
who
is that why God kind of went missing for like a couple seasons?
I think so. It's because he had a stroke. It wasn't as severe as Timothy's. Like, Timothy still speaks with a slur and, like, has a limp and can't really do that much. But, like, Rob is like...
Wow, I didn't know that about him. That's insane.
Yeah, I did not know that. Did you know that he is dating Ruth Connell?
Yes.
He is dating Ruthie Connell. He is
the woman who plays Rowena.
Fuck off!
Yeah, boy.
Welcome back to a shameless recap podcast. We're gonna talk about Supernatural for a little while.
Welcome back, everybody.
This is the luck we had. We're all a little punch happy. We just came off recording episode 1102 minisode, and 1103 is gonna drop in less than an hour. But what are we doing? Fucking around talking about Supernatural.
Yes, we are.
As we should. He had his stroke while at a Supernatural convention.
Oh shit. Okay, I do remember that then. What Supernatural convention was it? Did it say?
It was Toronto in 2013.
Oh damn.
Yeah.
He said he was having trouble speaking. It came and went, and him and Richard Speight Jr. laughed it off, assuming it was con fatigue.
Oh, I love Richard.
Then he went to the hospital because he started having feeling like he was having a panic attack. And yeah, he had a stroke.
But yeah, he had one, but his recovery, like, you see he was in season 15. He, like, can walk and talk and act normally. Like,
I saw him perform in his band in 2016.
Yeah, but like
I
Timothy
think
this is also 7 years after the fact that he's like this. But Timothy Oddmundson is like for real struggling. But he's acting and he's back and he did a whole movie. Like, he's good. But they had to, in the movie, incorporate the fact that his character had a stroke. So,
yeah, I guess it was kind of like a weird miracle thing because theoretically, because it was like all day, he should have been in a lot worse condition than he ended up being in. Like, he did obviously have to have like speech therapy and like recover, but yeah, it was kind of crazy that he like recovered so well and so quickly.
When did Timothy have his
He had his 3 years ago, I think. It was right before they shot the first Psych movie, which was supposed to be about his character Lassiter, and then he had a stroke and couldn't be in it. So they had to rewrite the whole movie.
Yeah, I met him in April of 2016.
So that was like right before he had a stroke, yeah.
Yeah, I met him at DC Con, Supernatural Con.
Sorry for anybody who doesn't care about either of these people. I don't know how much of this I'm
Chuck was
gonna
on
cut out.
Shameless. He's relevant somehow.
Because it's gonna be a shorter episode anyway. But hey, everybody, welcome back to the Shameless Recap Podcast. The luck we had. Hello.
Welcome, everybody.
I'm Amanda.
I'm Evan, and today we have a special guest returning. Who are you, and who are you excited to talk about today?
I'm Lena, and I think today I'm excited to talk about Fiona.
You know what? That's good. In the absence of Mickey, let's talk about Fiona. We're sorry, everybody. This is probably going to be a shorter episode, mostly because we're all anxious to start watching the new episode, but we're gonna get into it. We're not going to cheat you out of a good episode. This is season 2, episode 7, A Bottle of Gene Neat. We're officially entering the back half of season 2.
I honestly think season 2 is like very underrated, especially the back half of season 2.
On a rewatch, I agree.
Very underrated.
I like season 2 a lot.
This episode aired February 19th, 2012, written by Nancy Pimentel, one of our ladies, and LaToya Morgan, staff writer.
Queen.
This is Nancy's 5th of 23 Shameless episodes she's written through 2019. And she's also producer on 86 Shameless episodes through today. She stays there.
She's our girly. Hey bestie, hey bestie, hey bestie.
And LaToya, staff writer for all of season 2, tried and true. We love you, LaToya. And this episode was directed by David Nutter. This is his 2nd of 4 Shameless episodes through season 7. None that are of note. Like, I looked up all of them. I don't remember any of them. He always directed, if there's any kind of action-y theme, he directs it. Game of Thrones, The Flash, Arrow, Entourage.
Makes sense.
He's a big deal. But yeah, the title of the episode is A Bottle of Jean Neat. And me and Lena were just discussing, we think it is either something that Jody says or just a general comment about the old lady scent that is the grandma.
Well, it is from, I think it is from the scene where Jody's crying. But I don't know if it's necessarily grandma related. I think it's just general, like, because Karen thinks it's kind of like wussy that he cried. And so it's kind of a comment on like how feminine he is. So like, because it's like, yeah.
It's just a weird episode title choice. Not one that I love particularly.
Well, it doesn't come from like an actual quote. Nobody actually says a bottle of Jean Nate. Like,
yeah. Like if it was like Jack Daniels and orange juice, that would be the next episode's title. But like that would be a thing that you remember. But the Previously On was done by Frank because fucking of course it was. And here's what happened in the Previously On. Remember the racist that owns the alibi? He's still alive.
Sadly.
Steve is back and is married to a drug lord's daughter so that the drug lord would not straight up murder him in Brazil. He and Fiona almost hooked up again in the bathroom, but she stopped it. Debbie spilled the Jimmy beans. Ethel and Malik are gone. Ian and Lip are in a fight and didn't even talk for all of the last episode.
As always.
V hates Jasmine, a woman who publicly cheats on her husband. Like, V fully fucking hates this woman. And Grammy Gallagher is back, and she and Sheila fight and are not friends, and Grammy has threatened Sheila, and it's not good vibes between them at all. But let's get into it, shall we? And what an opener we do have.
This opening is so weird.
The episode opens with Jasmine licking Fiona's ear.
She's a freak.
And
Weirdo.
Fiona
Is asleep. Fiona's asleep, and in her sleep is like, stop it. Who did Fiona think that was? Licking her ear.
I think Jimmy, but it's also like, well, it begs the bigger questions. Like, did Jasmine just walk in and everybody just like let her do that?
I think she's already been at the house a handful enough times that the kids are just like, oh, Jasmine's here.
Yeah. And they
Yeah,
don't lock
probably.
their fucking doors.
Yeah, they don't lock their doors, ever.
So Jasmine is in bed with Fiona. God, all the missed opportunities. They lightly flirt, and then Jasmine invites Fiona out on Jasmine's rich boyfriend's yacht for a boat party. And Fiona's like, hi, the kids start school next week. Don't you also have children? You should be getting ready for school.
Literally.
And Jasmine's like, oh no, my husband likes doing it. My husband likes taking care of the kids.
He's stay-at-home dad. I respect him for that one.
But Jasmine acting a little bit shady, but we're all distracted because she keeps flirting with Fiona, and Fiona keeps not discouraging that. Bye, Fiona. The power she could have held.
Sigh.
Sorry, quick supernatural sidestep. I saw somebody also post that the power we could have had with Bi Dean realizing he was bi, the amount of jokes he would have made, the bi humor.
They already made
Out of
enough,
Dean
like, gay
Winchester?
jokes at him in this entire series. Like, there was that one scene, I think, in season 3, and it's, like, between him and Sam, and he goes, why does everyone think we're gay? And then Sam goes, well, you are kind of butch. And then Dean
That
That
just,
was
like,
season
one.
1, because I just rewatched.
Season 1.
Yeah, I like just rewatched.
But like also, what I'm saying is we could have had like a monster attacks Dean, and Dean could say that's homophobic.
But
Like,
Benny and Dean were confirmed in season 8, so,
I saw that. I saw the script leak on that. I literally was like, oh my god. I was like, oh, wig.
we're not starting a supernatural podcast, but we will keep letting it leak into this one.
I don't think I could handle a full rewatch
That's
of the
too
show.
many.
I don't
That's
think
too
I
many
could.
episodes.
no.
So anyway, the kind of potential we could have had if they had just let Fiona have a girlfriend. But anyway. Fiona gets out of bed where Jasmine is and runs into Frank in the hallway. He is bathed and put together and being forced to take care of his mother, and Fiona is fucking loving it. Fiona is eating this shit up. She's like, nope, she's your mom. You take care of her. She's your problem. And then we go over, Via's taken Kev to a dog shelter.
Please, this was so cute. Like, she was trying so hard to help him, and he missed Ethel so much. Also,
They are low-key the backbone of the show. I'll say it.
it makes me kind of sad because Kev was obviously more attached to Ethel than V was, but like it was made me a little upset how kind of not as much caring she was that she was missing than Kev was, but I still think it was really sweet that she like obviously tried hard to like help him like cope with her being gone and everything.
Yeah, she fully processes her feelings by taking the offensive on it. She calls Ethel an ungrateful bitch, and she is mad at Ethel for hurting Kev in the way that he is hurting.
Well, can I also like point out the difference in their and like the writers maybe didn't take this into account, but Kevin grew up in group homes, like in foster homes, bouncing around. So when he ran away, all he really wanted was somebody to look for him. Meanwhile, Veronica grew up in like a relatively okay home. I mean, her mom is like super present in the early seasons and stuff. And like obviously we learn a little bit about her brother, but it's like she grew up in like a relatively stable home, like compared to Kevin. So it's like she probably thinks that if somebody runs away, they're just being ungrateful.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I also just think it's a protective of Kev's feelings thing too. And like that gets revealed later in the episode that like it's a hard shell she's putting on, but like she is fully putting on the like you can hurt me as much as you want, but you hurt Kev and I can't forgive you for that. Like sort of thing. And it's really sweet. You're right. They are truly, honestly, the backbone of the show sometimes. It's so we go from V and Kev in the animal shelter. Kev finally picks something, but we don't get to see what it is that he picked. And we go to Karen walking into Jody and his morning wood in bed.
The biggest boner TP I ever did see.
Jody can only
he
fuck to Kiss from a Rose by Seal. He can only have sex while Kiss from a Rose by Seal is playing on it. I think that's what it is, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, hold on, I'll go on Tune
It's
Fine.
my
But
power,
meanwhile,
my pleasure, my pain. I'm pretty sure it's Kiss from a Rose.
I think that, like, okay, every time I think about Jody, I really think super hard about that meme of, like, that one dog that looks like him.
Stop it. I know exactly
Stop
what you're
it.
talking about.
I feel like it might actually be... Oh, no, it is Kiss from a Rose, you're
Okay,
right.
that's what I thought.
But later in the episode, Jody sings All Out of Love by Air
Oh,
Supply
yeah,
to
yeah.
Karen.
And he has like his...
On the bongos.
No, he's playing on like the buckets or whatever.
He also cries. He climaxes while singing along to the song and cries after sex. He's just an emotional man, and Karen is a robot who can't process emotion.
Karen is a
No, I'm
gremlin.
gonna
Be honest, I wouldn't be into it either.
Oh,
Karen's
not
got
saying
some
that it's
daddy
completely
issues.
cringy and I hate every second of it, but Karen's also just like the biggest bitch in the entire world, so...
She's a damaged woman with daddy issues who can't process real human emotion, and I understand that, but like let's put respect on Jody. He's
Well
a
said.
respectful king. We love this himbo. God, can you just him and Kev sitting in a room having a conversation? Can you imagine that
That's
scene?
Icons.
They're both so dumb. They would just speak in like they would just speak in like guttural noises. They wouldn't even say words.
No thoughts, one brain cell between the two. Just
Exactly.
Some form of like George of the Jungle.
oh, Brendan Fraser. Oh.
Oh, Brendan Fraser looks bad now, so...
Hey, Brendan Fraser went through a lot. He went through a lot.
Love him. I didn't say no disrespect. I just said he might not look the best right now.
But he is honestly killing it on Doom Patrol. Like it's fucking fantastic.
Proud of him.
At the sorry, we just get lost in a spiral of himbos sometimes. At the Gallagher's, Frank is giving his mother a bath. And she's got like a towel over her titties because I guess that's the line she's drawing in her son bathing her. He
It's
doesn't get to see her
probably the
titties.
line Frank drew, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Frank was probably like, sag boobs, saggy boobies.
She tries to
No
make
thanks.
plans for the day while he is trying to talk her into moving into her own place so that he does not have to take care of her. And while they're having that conversation, while she's in the bath, Lip walks in and just pees in front of them.
Yeah, and then she also makes a comment on his penis, which I forget it, but it's weird.
I don't know. I mean, like, okay, when you've lived in a house with a lot of people, it's kind of just like one of those things that happens.
Yeah, true, but I was
Every once in a while, like, I'm just like, I don't know. But also, the Gallaghers have 2 bathrooms.
like, I've definitely been peed in front of, like, my brothers or something. Like, they peed in front of me or something. But, like, she, like, checks him out and, like, comments on it. And he's just like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, good. Okay, cool. Good talk.
It was weird, man.
Thanks, G-Ma, Gammy, me. Like, what the fuck?
Mima.
Mima, me papi.
That weird interaction finishes, and Lip walks out of the bathroom, and then we just see Carl throw himself down the laundry chute.
Icon.
Which is just a hole in the kitchen ceiling. Like,
Well, yeah, there's a trapdoor like upstairs that you put the clothes in, and then it just falls through the chute, like
it's
just
not
straight
like-
onto the laundry floor.
yeah, it's not like a hotel one with like that's like a slide. It's just a hole in the
Yeah.
kitchen ceiling that he just falls through. Carl.
I think he's so silly.
I miss when he was such a daredevil.
And Fiona goes over and she's like, what the actual fuck was that? And he was like, I can't believe you've never done that before. She checks that he isn't broken. She does the mom thing. She's like, okay, nothing's broken and you're a fucking idiot. Slaps him upside the head and sends him to get breakfast. Lip and Ian and Fiona discuss how low the squirrel fund is for the winter because of that time they had to buy Liam back from drug dealers.
I forgot about that.
Oh my god.
Fiona hands out the money for school supplies to everybody, and then we find out Jasmine is still in the house. She just comes she comes out of the bathroom, and she's like, you're fucking still here, dude?
Well, I mean, we never saw her leave.
And then Fiona gives all the boys tasks to do to, like, get ready for school that's starting in a week. Lip and Ian still aren't talking. Fiona is fucking sick of it. Yes, this is the episode where they fight in the alley.
Woohoo!
Jasmine once again invites Fiona to the boat party. And Fiona's like, I'm running a household. And gets Jasmine to leave. Then they hear Frank start to come downstairs and they hide all the money from him. They're like, red alert. And they hide the squirrel fund from Frank because if he even sniffed near it, it would be gone in a second.
Indeed, yeah.
He tries to abandon his mom, and Fiona's like, nope, that's not gonna work. She's your responsibility. Thank you and goodbye. And then back to Karen and Jody. He is monitoring her caffeine intake because she is a
It was so cute, because, like, she's, like, poured herself, like, another cup of coffee, and he's like, babe, that's your second cup, and she's like, fuck you. And, like, at least someone cares about this baby.
Oh, she is pregnant, so you're, like, not supposed to have caffeine.
You can have, like, 1 cup of coffee. And then Jody's friends from tattoo school come by. Fun fact, tattoo school, not a thing. You apprentice in a tattoo shop. Tattoo school is not a thing.
Do they literally say tattoo school?
Yes, he says, my friends from tattoo school.
Damn it.
It's not cosmetology, my guy. Like, it's...
Stick and poke summer camp.
Evan's a graduate.
Thank you.
But he's got friends who are coming over and they have kids and one of them is pregnant and he wants them to, like, get to know Karen and meet Karen. Turns out, we go over to Kev and V. Again, they bounce from one himbo to another and it's a nice balance. So we go from Jody to Kev a lot and then Kev to Jody. Turns out Kev and V did not get a dog. They got a rabbit. And Kev names her Ethel too.
They like, he misses Ethel so much.
That's like an Always Sunny. Sorry for bringing that show up again, but when Dennis gets Mac a dog to keep him busy around their house to the suburb, and he names it Dennis Jr.
He's like, why'd you name it Dennis? And he was like, because I like you.
Because I'm in love with you.
Shameless, Supernatural, and It's Always Sunny. We have a thing for emotionally damaged queer men. Like, we really, really do.
I mean, it's also like the himbo shows.
Kev asks V how she can be so cold about the Ethel situation, and like we said, V's like, Ethel hurt you. she fucking hurt you, and I'm mad at her about that. Fuck you. And then, like, V tries to ease the moment with sex, and Kev is into it because he loves his wife, and then sees one of Ethel's dress underwear things and gets sad again and pushes off of V and says some mean things about V, but it's because he's hurt.
Does that excuse it?
Well,
I don't know.
Yeah, like, he thinks that she doesn't care as much about this as he does, and that hurts him, and so he snaps. And I'm not gonna dock points from him for that.
Well, okay, so, like, I do think, and, like, here's why I feel like I might be really happy with tonight's episode, which for everybody is 11:03, because I feel like there are a lot of parallels that can be drawn between the way Kevin V and Ian and Mickey operate, because it's like, not only do they, you know, work together, are romantic partners, but they're work partners as well most of the time, and also that they are both couples that use sex as a way to, like,
communicate. But yeah, Kev is hurting, and V is trying to understand how to process it. And then we go back to Fiona, who is preparing the kids' school supplies. She's doing the thing. She's, like, putting away the summer clothes, getting out the winter clothes, looking for all the old notebooks and stuff. And then, just to fuck up her day, Jimmy Steve stops by.
Of course he does.
We get the first ever in-show Jimmy Steve as Fiona kicks him out the door without... First, Jimmy Steve from Fiona. Debbie might have said it.
Mm-hmm.
Fiona's like, I'm not listening to a goddamn word that you have to say. Get the fuck out of my house. I'm busy.
As
Twice now.
Twice now. Jasmine and now Jimmy Steve. She's like, you are annoying me, and I need to run my life. I need you to get the fuck away from me.
Yeah, everybody's annoying Fiona this episode.
I just want to fuck her so bad.
Me too. Anyway.
Back to the Jacksons. Karen and Jody are having brunch with Jody's friends from tattoo school. Tattoo school.
My favorite place. I went there.
There are special effects schools. There are cosmetology schools. You apprentice at a tattoo shop. I'm not going to get over it. It's one of the more annoying things that took one Google search for them to correct.
Maybe they were like, oh, he's just stupid.
So they're having brunch with Jody's friends and his friends' screaming kids. One of them tries to get Karen to go in on a case of diapers with her from Costco. Because she's like, because I'm pregnant too right now. And then they talk about the horrors of childbirth and how things can tear and that you poop.
Your comment just gave me, like, I threw up in my mouth.
It's from a later episode, so we're not going to mention it, but, like...
If you've seen The Miracle of Life in Sex Ed, Shameless decided that wasn't enough, and you had to see it again in the end of season 2. Terrible. So Karen just leaves. Karen straight up just fucking leaves. And we meet Frank at the Alibi, where he and his mom come rolling in as big winners from the Indian casino. They're wearing headdresses and everything. Kev is wearing a shirt with Ethel's face on it.
Oh, I love him.
I think he's a freak.
But it's like you said. It's like...
But, like, when did he get that shirt custom made? I just have to know.
It's an iron-on. You can do that overnight. Print it out, iron it on. There you go.
Yeah, I guess I would think with Kevin's track record, he wouldn't be that handy.
But it's like you said, he was a foster child, and all he ever wanted was for someone to look for him. And yeah. So Kev's wearing that shirt. Grammy buys a round of drinks for everyone in the bar, except the woman who fucked her husband back in the day. Frank then turns to Kermit, who we didn't discuss in 11:02, because as I said, we're ignoring everything about the current Kermit situation.
I actually am kind of living for it, and I think it would be kind of funny if they came to Ian and Mickey and were like, so, do you guys have any advice? And they were like, what, are you gay?
And they'd be like, no.
Oh my god.
I have nothing against Kermit, but, like, the homophobic things that have come out of Tommy's mouth, and, like, I think I said this in the first minisode, it makes me afraid that they're going to do a Terry Milkovich is actually gay thing at the end of the season, instead of murdering him like they should, because he's a literal Nazi.
Yeah, it's less than ideal. I will say, like, the scenes that were interspersed throughout the episode where Tommy and Kermit were, like, sitting apart and everybody was like, are you two having a fight? And they were like, no.
And then the fucking end when freaking Frank just goes, you guys should kiss and make up. And they're just like,
how did he know?
What the fuck?
The gay panic. Kind of
They're
silly.
They're like in the scenes that are projected to happen tonight too, so
I mean, I feel like they're gonna have a thing where it's just gonna be like, oh, we were hot. Like, they're gonna have that conversation, like, in passing during another scene where it's like, oh, we were high, I don't still feel attracted to you. Maybe they'll have like a little gag moment where like they try to hook up sober and it like isn't doing it for either of them.
But of course we got even the implication of a sex scene between them before we even get Ian and Mickey looking at each other for longer than 5 seconds.
All we had was Mickey being like, are we gonna fuck?
Are we gonna fuck or no?
And I mentioned that they fucked 5 times once in the first episode. We're veering into season 11 territory again. God damn it. So at the Gallagher house, Fiona's pulling all the school. Oh yeah, Frank, he talks to Kermit because he's trying to pawn his mom off on Kermit's sister because Kermit's sister is disabled and has her house rigged up like that. And Kermit's like, how about you go fuck yourself? And says no to that.
Like, does she need a roommate? And he's like, no, your mom's not moving in.
Yeah. Then we go to the Gallagher house. Fiona's pulling all the school kids' clothes out from the attic. And V is telling Fiona that she's like, let's go to that fucking boat party that Jasmine mentioned. Let's enjoy the summer while it's still here. Let's have a little bit of fun. We're young. We're sexy. Let's go to a fucking boat party.
Yeah, they should.
And V's just like trying to inject good energy into Kev right now, too. So she's like, perfect opportunity.
Do a little coke, do a little weed, do a little drinking.
In the hot tub.
Exactly.
But Frank and his mom come home. He's still whining and still trying to get rid of his mom somehow. And then we shoot back to the alibi where Kev is trying to interpret Ethel's postcards because she's sending him postcards with Tommy and Kermit. And they do nothing but make it worse with Kev's fears about like child abduction and sex trafficking, when in reality, Ethel and Malik just ran away to be happy.
Yeah, like, it's very sweet that she's still, like, reaching out to him, but, like, that's, like, hurting Kev more. He's like, but I want her with me.
And then Stan, the racist bar owner, comes downstairs wearing nothing but a jockstrap, insisting he has a baseball game today.
He got his glove. He's ready to go. He's ready to play ball.
In Shameless, when they make us look at old man butt, I can't do it. I literally, every time it happens, I'm like, no.
We've seen old man butt way too much.
But, like, this is an implication that Stan is losing his shit more than we've seen him lose his shit before. So Kev has to, like, convince him to go back upstairs. And Kermit's like, Kev, you've got to call his daughter. Like, he's losing his mind. Kev is still against it.
The fact that they just left that old-ass man unsupervised above the bar at all times, like, I'm surprised he's not dead already.
Yeah. And then, a fun new location, the library, where we meet back up with Lip and Karen, who at the end of the last episode, Lip was telling her to get an abortion and she was slapping him in the face. And now they're talking like they're best friends.
And he literally straight up just said back to her, you gotta get an abortion.
Yeah, the end of the last episode was her wedding reception, where he tells her to get an abortion and she slaps him. That was the last interaction we saw them have, and now they're talking in the library like they're just buds. The amount of scenes they skip that they just don't tell us what happened.
It's also like, well, I guess texting is a thing that we just don't. I wish it was more like Scam in that way, or Scam, where they would like upload characters' text messages to each other.
Yeah.
And like they ran Instagram posts for the characters. Oh, that show was so good.
But so Karen, like was displayed by the earlier scene, Karen was not that into fucking Jody in the morning. So Karen asked Lip to make Jody go away. And she says the insurance money for her dad hasn't come in yet, and she's afraid if she divorces Jody, he will take half of that insurance money because they're married and they did not get a prenup. So Lip tells her, oh, just get a backdated prenup. And like, that's it. He's like, I'll figure out a way to get you a backdated prenup. And like, it's just, like I said, it's just frustrating that we went from an incredibly hurtful comment to them just being
the fact that like he said that to her and then now she's asking him like, hey, can you get rid of Jody for me? Like, what is he supposed to assume now?
I guess he's just simping a little bit.
A little bit?
A lot.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
At the house, Grammy is drinking a beer with a straw out of a tall boy, and Carl is annoying her. We learn that Carl is repeating the 3rd grade, and Grammy offers to teach him a skill. Yeah, that would make him about 9 or 10.
Who knows how old they're supposed to be anymore?
With that ominous offer of Grammy offering to teach Carl a skill, you know Grammy, the one who operates a meth lab, we're off to the boat party.
Boat party.
Fiona, Kev, and V roll up to a yacht that is packed with people, including fucking Jimmy Steve.
That's what I said. I was like, how the fuck did he get invited? Him and Jasmine,
what?
How did they just so happen to cross paths?
Jasmine found Craig Heisner. Jasmine can find Jimmy.
He definitely did that shit on purpose. He definitely, like, I don't know, he definitely keeps tabs on Fiona in some sort of way, like in a weird, creepy way. he probably keeps tabs on her. But it's also just like, how do you get invited? This is a boat party. Like,
I feel like doesn't Jasmine say something that she invited him?
Yeah, Jasmine is here to cause drama.
Like, the fuck, girl?
I was
Like,
also there.
I don't know. I like her, and then I also want to beat her up at the same time. Like, she gets me so mad, but also I'm like, I like how loose.
But you're like,
oh, give me more.
Yeah, I'm like, give me more. Be more reckless, please.
Fiona isn't fazed by it. She's hot and sexy and ready for a boat party, so she's like, fuck it, we're going on this goddamn boat. Carl and Grammy, meanwhile, are ready for a scam. They're outside a drugstore. Carl is sticking to a script asking people to help him buy Sudafed for his sick grandma, and even the one woman he asks, like, you trying to make meth? He's like, yeah, I'll give you $10 if you go buy me some Sudafed. And the woman just does it.
What is Sudafed?
I mean,
what is Sudafed normally used for?
It's a decongestant. Yeah, it's a decongestant, but there's certain things that, like, if you mix it with it, it'll turn into meth.
Yeah. You have to have an ID to get it, and you can only have, like, a certain amount of it, because if you have any more than that, you could make meth with it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, you can't buy more than, like, 2 packs or something, and that's kind of how, like, well, if you've, like, seen Breaking Bad, that's kind of why why Walter White, because he's a chemist, is, like, so good at what he does, is because not only can he get access to, like, the raw, like, materials, but also he knows how to combine them, and that's why his meth is, like, so good.
Yeah. So yeah, Sudafed is a controlled substance, basically, even though it's just cold medicine, because you can use it to make meth.
Gotcha.
Speaking of crimes, we go to a prison. Frank is there with the case of Insure his mom asked him to get earlier in the episode. And he's trying to tell the guards and the people at the prison that his mom is faking her illness. And they basically say, get the fuck out of here. We don't care and we don't have time for you. Fuck off. Your mom's actually dying. In all their records, his mom is dying, and they don't want her back. They're like, she's an 86-year-old woman. What harm is she going to do to the community? So she's teaching her grandson how to cook meth.
Teaching them early.
A less intense drug, cocaine, is going up Kev's nose in the jacuzzi on the boat. So he's riding high. He's a little too high.
As they should.
He's too high to care about Ethel right now, which was V's entire plan. And then Steve walks up, and Jasmine makes Estefania just go anywhere else with her so that Jimmy Steve could be alone with the group of people.
I like your comment.
I say, woohoo! And I'm starting a rumor that Estefania and Jasmine hooked up.
You know what? I appreciate that, and I believe that. Now I'm accepting that. And Steve is like...
Well, it's a rumor, so it has to be true.
Yeah.
Obviously.
It's shameless. It has to be.
So then Steve is like, I'm gonna get in the jacuzzi, and he takes off his shorts and is wearing a
He
Speedo.
drops them drawers and he's wearing the tiniest little Speedo, and everyone laughs.
Yeah, literally, it's like, am I the only one who, if, like, a man did that and was like, am I being seductive? I would be like, no, you're being silly and funny, and I'm gonna laugh at you.
Yeah, I would not be
He's
attracted to that.
I've been in Brazil. I don't know what you want from me. I have Speedos now. Okay.
Bitch, $5 at the Walmart will get you a fucking regular bathing suit, just like everybody else there.
Put a 5 below, for fuck's sake.
At the house, Debbie is contemplating what her first day of school outfit should be. Ian is doing sit-ups like he does when he's angry, that he just continues to do. This is coping mechanism even through season 11. Doing sit-ups and complaining about the fact that Debbie gets to have new clothes when he gets all of Lip's old hand-me-downs. Yeah, Ian is taller than Lip, but they're like roughly the same size.
Yeah, and Lip, I feel like at this point, because Ian does fill out more than Lip does, like later he gets like, broader shoulders. At this point, Ian's pretty lean.
Yeah.
But it's like,
oh yeah, he was
I don't know, like, he's taller.
Season 4, it slaps right into him. But yeah.
Literally, I'm like, oh my god, he's so big and
Season
tall.
3 is like medium. Season 4 is like, and then season 11 is fucking X Games mode, man.
I mean, I'll say it.
Oh my god, kind of a dilf.
Ian in season 11 is beefy.
Well,
He looked
I'll
like
say
he...
this.
When they were on hiatus, and Cameron had like his really long hair, I was like, oh, I really hope they let him keep it.
And the beard?
So good.
But also, like, I said this in, like, the first recap episode, but, like, Cameron, Ian, whatever, from season 10, it looked like he aged at least, like, 5 years.
Yeah,
Cameron
and,
just
I
looks
don't know what happened to him.
like, he just looks so much older and, like, a bit more rougher. Like, he has that, like, middle 30s look, but he's, like, 26.
Yeah, like, I don't know what happened to him, but...
He looks good, but he looks rough.
He looks really good. I mean, he looks like a DILF, but, like, at the same time, I'm like, well...
He looks like he's, like, barely 30, and he looks like he's, like, 36.
Anyway, we gotta get through this. So, in his rant, Debbie had asked him to help pick out an outfit, and he did not help her do that. And then Lip comes home, and she's like, Lip, what outfit should I wear? And he's like, that one. And he, like, picks out exactly what she wants him to pick out. And she's like, Jesus fucking thank you. And then he says that he and Karen are getting back together, and Ian's like, you're wasting your life. And then Lip says, you're the one who's pretending to date Mandy so you can fuck her brother. I love remembering that Lip knows.
Goddamn. He
What a
really...
serve.
Also, just, like, the delivery on this line. So brilliant.
Also, like, the absolute, like, that happening in that living room when we know that later fucking Uncle Mickey and his niece and, like, But Lip says, even the military lifted the gay ban, so is Ian just too chicken shit to out himself? He wouldn't be outing himself, he would be outing a man who would actually get murdered. But anyway...
No, Ian is, like, out, technically. I mean, the only reason he's out to, like, everybody who matters. He's only in, like, at school because he would get the shit beaten out of him, which is why and also Mandy needs, like, a fake boyfriend to keep creepy guys away from her.
Yeah, he's mostly doing it for Mandy. He doesn't give a fuck. But so they start pushing each other and throwing insults, and they start to get physical and hit each other when Grammy walks in and makes them stop. And she's like, okay, yeah, but you do have to fight it out. And they agree on a time and place to meet and just beat the shit out of each other.
At dawn, we brawl swords.
Because all of Ian's relationship problems have to be solved with violence.
Always.
That's just boys being boys.
Guys being dudes. Frank comes home, and his mom makes him put her to bed. He's like, I got your insurance. She's like, I don't fucking want it anymore. I need to go to bed. And then at the Jacksons, where I assume Sheila is just in her room for the whole episode. Sheila's just not in this one. Jody and Karen are watching TV. Jody says they should go on a game show after the baby is born.
And Karen...
I love him. I love Jody so much.
Karen just lets the TV distract him while she makes him sign some paperwork. It's the prenup, but she is lying. And he sees it. He sees that it's the prenup and agrees to sign it anyway. He's like, I love you no matter what. I love you, this man. I love this man so much. What did he really love her? Was he Stacy and he was trying to get to Stacy's mom? Stop it!
Stacy was Karen Stacy and he was trying to get to Stacy's mom. I'm just saying, because, like, we know what happened.
She's got it going on.
She did have it going on. I'll give that to Joan Cusack. She really had it going on.
And then over to the boat party, some guy tries to grope a sleeping Estefania and Jasmine shoos him away. Stop trying to date rape my friend. Cool, thanks, Jasmine. I love that you're friends with that guy. And then she goes to check on Kev and V and Fiona. Kev gets the idea to hit the highway to look for Ethel, and he, like, says it like they'd agreed to it. He's like, did I not say that out loud before?
I mean, that's the cocaine.
Yeah. And V's like, we're not fucking hitting the highway to look for her. And they start to bicker. Kev calls her his fake wife because they're not legally married. So that's it. She's done.
That's the last straw for her.
Jasmine leaves Fiona and Steve alone on the boat in the, like, jacuzzi area, and then Fiona gets the fuck out of there, and then we simply just see them again in a different part of the boat. Like, we cut from them leaving each other to them joining up again on another part of the boat. Fiona asks if he was ever going to tell her the truth about his name and his family, and she says the fact that he could drop his wife in a second for her means that Fiona could never be with him, because she needs a man who can commit, because she has commitment issues and she has abandonment issues. He leaves to take his wife home, and Fiona starts to cry in that lovely, ugly cry way that Emmy does.
Emmy Rossum ugly cry. One for the ages.
Jasmine sees her crying and comforts her, but takes it just one step past friendship, and they kiss! And Jasmine says, I love you, and if these writers were brave, we could have had this. She would have been toxic as fuck, but, like, it would have been fun for a while.
But then
Yeah,
also,
I mean,
Nessa,
like...
wasn't she fucking... She had her crazy girlfriend, though.
No, so I don't think they would have worked as, like, girlfriends, but I'm just saying... Bye, Fiona.
It would have been fun.
Really been a good moment.
A serve, man.
It would have been a serve.
Instead of all the basic white men she ends up marrying. So then Fiona gets soft and things get awkward and Fiona leaves. And then back at home, Frank is still taking care of his mom, getting her ready for bed. And in Karen's room, she and Jody are fucking again, but Karen is feeling suffocated by it and she cannot take it anymore. And she kicks him off of her and tells him to get out. Poor Jody, no idea what he did wrong. No idea. He just wants to make sure he didn't hurt her. And then she kicks him out and throws his shit out the window. He wasn't even like mad about getting caught off mid-sex. He's just like, oh my god, did I hurt you? Is everything okay?
Yeah, he's butt-ass naked and she locks him out.
He's like holding his hands over his junk and she's like throwing his shit out the window.
The next morning, Fiona is awoken with a bang because the meth lab that Granny and Carl started fucking exploded in the basement. Fiona storms out to find her, and we cut over to the alibi. Now Frank is pitching his mom to move in with Stan, the man that is losing his shit above the bar. Kev is too hungover from the cocaine and the boat party to even listen. Fiona comes in looking for Granny. She gets a shot of Jaeger in the morning time and says they have to get rid of Granny because a meth lab just exploded in her basement. And then Lip is walking down the street past Karen's house. Jody is camped out in the alley next to the house, waiting for Karen's hormones to settle down so that he will be allowed back in the house. This poor, sweet, innocent little man.
I'm so mad how they do him so dirty. Like, he was there for 3 seconds and now everyone's just like, mostly it's just Karen.
No, he was there for a long time.
No, I know I messed up by saying that part, but
no, actually, I'm remembering wrong. He was there for like 2 seasons. But he was like a regular in those 2 seasons. He wasn't like a guest star. Like, he appeared in almost every episode.
Yeah. Definitely more than Sheila. So far, Jody has been in more episodes than Sheila has in season 2.
God damn, I didn't realize that.
Yeah. So Lip sort of vaguely acknowledges Jody's existence and then walks in Karen's house to fuck Jody's wife. Come on, Lip. Be a human being.
Like, that's so, like, and the fact that he just, like, checks in on him and then he's like, peace out, and then...
He's like, you feeling okay? Alright, I'm gonna go
This is the next part when, like, she's giving him a blowjob by the window, right? Is that this episode too?
Yeah, but it's just in a couple scenes.
I'm sorry.
In Jimmy Steve's room, in his hotel room, he is sitting, he's brooding, while his smoking hot naked wife lays asleep beside him.
Okay, but if I was him, I would go back to Fiona too. Yes, I would. Yes, I would.
Also because his wife is clearly in love with somebody else that she's always talking to on the phone. Fiona and Frank move to a table at the alibi and are thinking up ways to get Frank's mom out of the fucking house. Again, I love when Emmy and William H. Macy get to, like, buddy together with scenes. Something starts leaking from the ceiling and Kev says, fucking Stan. So, like, the old man upstairs is clearly up to something because the ceiling is leaking. And then Fiona continues to scheme with Frank, and Frank pitches calling the cops and saying it's a 405, which Fiona knows is a code for a mental disorder. We aren't going to talk about how heart-shatteringly awful it is that Fiona knows what the police code for a mental disorder is.
Well, because of Monica, yeah.
Yeah. Like, he's like, we could say it's a 405. She's like, mental disorder? I'm like, it breaks my heart that you knew exactly what that was. But they cheers to that. They've made a plan. A plan is set to get Grammy out of the fucking house. And for a brief moment, Fiona and Frank are buddies.
For 1 second.
Upstairs, Kev goes to check in on Stan and burns himself on a thing on the oven, and then finds Stan asleep in the bathtub. Asleep but not dead, which is good. Kev says Stan can't keep doing this shit because the bathtub is overflowing, and that's why it was leaking into the alibi downstairs. And he's like, Stan, you cannot keep doing this or you can't live on your own anymore. Stan kicks him out like old stubborn men do. And Kev is like, fucking fuck you. And he leaves the room.
Yeah. Stan just doesn't want to hear shit. And then Kev obviously doesn't know how to confront him to the extreme because he's himbo king.
Then we meet up with Fiona and Frank walking back to the house, going over their plan again and again. And I love when they get along. And she's like, well, what if we get her committed and they look her over and think that she's not insane? And Frank's like, get the fuck out of here. But by the time they get home, an ambulance is in front of the house because this ambulance brought Granny home from Ace Hardware where she fell down.
Why would they bring her home? They should bring her to the hospital.
They probably looked her over, determined she wasn't a case that needed to go to the hospital, and then just brought her back to her house.
Yet she will still get a $2,000 bill.
She won't pay it, but... The EMT tells Fiona and Frank that she's an old, sick woman who must be in a lot of pain, that she is actually, truly, really dying. And they should admit her to hospice. And you see like a moment of recognition pass on Frank and Fiona's face. They can't go through with their plan now. Her grandmother is dying. Like, Fiona can't do that. And then back in Karen's room, she's giving Lip a blowjob while Jody sings "I'm All Out of Love" and plays the banjo out her window.
I love that scene. The bongos are so offbeat. It's just, I'm all out of love. I love
he's
him.
going so slow too.
She stops sucking Lip's dick long enough to tell Jody to shut the fuck up. She tries to get back to it, but Lip's like, you know what? The vibe is wrong. I'm done with this. And he's like, I gotta go beat the shit out of Ian anyway. I'll see you later. And speaking of that, Ian and Lip meet up under the L. There's conveniently a pile of couches and cushions around that is not at all just the stunt and props department not wanting these two teenage boys to get hurt while doing this fight scene. But they meet up under the L, they exchange some words, and they just start fucking wailing on each other among the couch cushions. And Ian is, like we said before, Ian is so tiny in season 2. Season 11 Ian would have ruined Lip in this fight.
Ooh, yeah.
Ruined, even though season 11 Lip is beefy too.
But you know what? He's a DILF, and I don't think he could take Ian.
Yeah. Speaking of, Jeremy Allen White had a second baby.
I did see that. It's I think it's another girl.
Yeah.
Damn.
But yeah, they're fighting like they do, and they lay there afterwards on the ground and talk it out a little bit, and then go to get a beer. And that's it. That's the end of their fight.
Yes, brothers. That's what we say.
And because it wasn't even really a problem between the two of them, it was both of them just being so angry at the world and taking it out on each other, and they needed a physical manifestation of just getting it out of their bodies.
Well, because it was like they were both like making fun of each other's relationship problems, but then kind of through fighting they realized like, oh, I'm no better than him. Like, we both are having like shitty things going on. Like, his situation, like, I shouldn't judge him for what he's doing in his situation because I'm doing shitty stuff in my situation too. It's like, I don't know.
By the way, we officially cannot go on Twitter starting right now, because we'll get spoiled as fuck. But we're gonna wrap this up real quick. Okay. The next morning it's time for school. Carl has a bald spot from the meth lab explosion. Fiona sees the bruises on Lip and Ian, but she's just like, okay, cool, that's super nice for you to have on your first day of school, but I'm glad that you're talking now. And then we look at cute little Liam for the first time in like 3 episodes. Hi, Liam.
Hey, Liam, we missed you.
In season 11, you get to have one whole scene to yourself sometimes. Fiona wakes Lip up for school, and he's like, oh, I actually dropped out. And she's like, you're a fucking senior. You're a senior.
That's the start of this little storyline. I remember this.
She's like, you're almost done. You cannot have dropped out. And then at Kev and V's house, Kev is asleep in Ethel's room, and V wakes him up to tell him that the rabbit, Ethel too, has gone missing. And V is distraught about this. And they look for her in the backyard, and V seems really upset about it. And finally, the breakdown she's been holding back about Ethel comes through, and she, like, breaks down for Kev. She's like, I was super mean to her, and what if she thought she wasn't loved here? And, like, oh god, it was really upsetting. But Kev sits her down and comforts her and tells her that it's not her fault. And then V's like, what if we had our own child? What if we had our own baby? And Kev's like, yeah, let's start right now. And they lay down to fuck in the backyard. But V, before they can get started making their own children, V sees the bunny across the yard and goes, don't you run away from us, you dumb fucking whore.
I remember that. That was so silly.
I love her.
And then in the Gallagher kitchen, Fiona calls the school and tells them Lip is just sick and she's buying him time because she refuses to let him drop out.
As she should.
Jasmine comes in, apologizes for the boat party and the weirdness, and Fiona tells her it's no big deal, even though it is just so awkward now. Jasmine tries to party again and tries to invite her somewhere else, but Fiona's like, you've got to go home to your children and face your real life. And Jasmine's like, I actually can't because my husband kicked me out because he found out I've been cheating on him for actual years. She's been living on her sugar daddy's boat, but the cops came last night to break up the party, and now she's homeless and she needs a place to stay.
This girl just got herself in deep, and she thinks she can just be like, Fiona, hey.
Yeah.
Hey, queen.
And Fiona's like, you can't stay at my house. She draws a line. She's like, I'm sorry, you can't fucking stay here.
She was like, not even for a little sucky suck. Goddamn.
Jasmine tries to gaslight her and guilt her into saying yes, like, after all I've done for you, you won't let me stay here. And while Fiona processes that, Frank comes in, chugs a beer, and then just goes back upstairs. Like, nothing else happens. Frank just comes down, chugs a beer, takes a breath, and goes back upstairs. And then Jasmine and Fiona go back to fighting. More gaslighting, more guilt tripping from Jasmine. And like, Jasmine, babe, there's this saying I need you to hear. If you run into one asshole in the morning, you ran into an asshole. If you run into assholes all day, maybe you're the asshole.
Damn, that's a powerful quote.
I think it might be, I don't know, it's somebody, I don't know who said it. It might have been Dennis Leary, I don't know. But nevertheless, Fiona chases after her because Fiona's a good person who doesn't like people being mad at her. But she stops when she runs into Jimmy Steve outside of her house. She tells him to go away, and he asks
He's
why.
literally stalking her, I'm sorry, but he's literally stalking her.
That whole comment from like season 1 where he was like, I'll just be across the street in the bushes looking at you. And it's like, I really don't think he was lying.
No, it doesn't seem like he's fucking lying.
But she tells him to go away, and he's like, I just want to know why you didn't come to the airport. Like at the end of season 1, why she didn't come. And she says it doesn't matter now. He says, I love you. And she just says, don't. And slams the door in his face.
Good.
Oof. And then credits. Yeah.
The audacity of him. Like, I get it. He's back. I love him as much as the next person. But Mans does not know when to, like, catch a break. Like, not saying he should give up on her completely, but, like, most inconvenient. Says the worst shit at the worst time. Just saying, I love you. But, sir, where do you think you're gonna get anywhere with that at this point? She's been rejecting him this entire season so far. Even though, like, she fucked him once. Like, besides that.
But yeah, he says, I love you. She says, don't, and slams the door in his face. And then the credits roll. And the after credit scene is Kev and V they don't call Stan's daughter because that might start a whole ownership thing with the alibi. They instead just drop Stan off at the nursing home where V worked. And they leave Bunny Ethel with him as a friend. And the music in the credits is Ain't It Weird by the Goodnight Loving.
Woohoo.
And that's the end of the episode. What did we think, y'all?
It's not a bad episode. It's not a super important episode in terms of like plot development, but it's good. Like, it's a good filler. It's a good like passage of time while I'm expanding upon the existing storylines. Like, it's like
It's giving us like a sprinkle of like every storyline we're gonna like get more in depth to throughout the season, but not enough like plot driven things that are like important to everything. It's just like, here's what's gonna happen before all this other crazy shit happens.
Yeah, before everything kind of blows up.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree. It's a filler episode for sure. But it's not. We got important information and we ended the Jasmine thing, and so the summer is officially over, and the next episode we're kickstarting into the fall.
Is this episode the last time we see Jasmine ever? Correct?
It might be.
Yeah. What ended up happening with her?
I think this.
Oh,
yeah.
That was the whole thing. She was like, I'm done.
Yeah. Maybe she's got one more appearance in season 2, but like I don't think so.
Possibly,
Well,
we
'cause
possibly
isn't the
might
next
see her
episode-
something with the school because her kids still go to school with like Debbie and
Yeah.
Carl.
Isn't the next episode when Monica comes back?
Sorry, spoiler alert. The next episode ends with an appearance of Monica, yeah, and then that kickstarts into you know what's in the fall?
Thanksgiving.
Yeah, the Thanksgiving, and then
That's
like
so funny. I can't believe the Thanksgiving episode in
half.
season 2 of Shameless just isn't released. There isn't an episode. There isn't a Thanksgiving
Yep.
episode.
No Thanksgiving episode. I don't know what you're talking about.
Guys.
Sorry, guys. We're gonna actually have to skip that episode because it doesn't exist.
Yeah. But yeah, that one's gonna be rough, but we've got a few episodes to get there. Thank you every single person that is listening to this for sticking with us. We had our highest week of listening that we've ever had before this week.
Woo!
We are being streamed in so many different countries.
That is
And we
so
even-
cool.
We even got a review on Apple Podcasts, which was very fucking cool. We're sorry about the inconsistencies of the minisodes. Life happens, and we are going to we're getting this episode done. We're going to try and record episode 208 as well this week. And then maybe we'll take a break because between recording those, Christmas is going to happen.
Yes.
So there might be like a week or two delay in 209 coming out, but we are trying to barrel towards the end of season 2 and keep up with season 11 at the same time. And we appreciate everybody's patience, and the minisode was a hit. So like I'm excited to get in and start.
Very excited. The minisodes are so fun to film, especially because with it airing currently, it's really fun to talk about something while it's actually
behind the scenes stuff.
And it's like as soon as we sign off, I know all 3 of us are gonna go watch the episode.
Yes.
Well, I'm sure our group chat will be blowing up tonight. But yeah, thank you everybody for joining us. Lena, I'm gonna put all of your Instagram stuff in the show notes. Evan, I'm just gonna put our Instagram stuff in the show notes.
More than fine.
Follow the Luck We Had Pod on Twitter. Follow the Luck We Had Pod on Instagram. Email us at luckwehadpod@gmail.com. Like, comment, subscribe, rate, and review. We love to hear from you guys. I'm sorry that we're rushing the end of this, but it's 12:10 a.m. and episode 3 just dropped, so we're all gonna go watch it right now. Thank you guys for listening. We love you so much, and happy holidays to everybody.
Thank you everyone so much for listening. We love and appreciate all of you. Thank you so much for listening this week.
And thank you for joining us, our very lovely guest.
Thank you so much, Lena, again, our elite
So
guest star.
But yeah, we're gonna sign off now and go watch the new episode. We'll be on Twitter screaming with all of you like the rest of us.
Good night,
Bye.
everybody. Bye. Bye.